يا ربي يستر واسترني من العبد الغدار.
Iblees was a jinn and his worshipness was so strong, and that was always the example that tariqah comes and teaches, that some people they have a lot of himma in which they do whatever they want to do, and they do it and they do it and they do it. They say for 70,000 years he worshipped Allah in which he made a sujood everywhere. There's nowhere from earth into the heavens that he did not make his sujood in his worshipness for Allah. But because his worshipness was based at his own time and his own pace and the way he wanted, he didn't know that his actions were filled with arrogance. And Allah allowed him to continue until he reached the station of heavens in which the angels would come to his associations of teachings. And when he would give a bayan, they were listening. And that's where awliyaullah come to teach us. It's not only the bayan that come to you say, oh, it's very interesting talk he had, but the guy's yelling and screaming and every other word he's spitting from his mouth. He's exhibiting characteristics that are not with the love and the muhabbat of Sayyidina Muhammad. The one talking must always assume that Sayyidina Muhammad is straight in front of you, looking at you while you're giving bayan. You cannot yell, you cannot scream, you cannot become insulting, you cannot do anything that would make the presence of Sayyidina Muhammad to leave that bayan. And that's why Allah wanted to show when He said, the Khalifa, bow down, to show their taslim. And this was a Sujood al-Ihtiram, and the angels went into sujood except shaitan. He didn't. Then the angels they came back up to look and they said, oh, they're scared that he's not making sujood to Allah, and they went down again. That's why we make the two sujood. They made one, came up, when they saw he's still not bowing they were scared and went back into sujood. And when they got up and finished, then the ones whom had been his students, they took it to ask a question. So why the Khalifa? And that's what Allah wanted to bring in as an example. Shaykh Abdul Faiz Dagestani Qaddasallahu Siru, with a beatific character, 5 years ordered into seclusion. The first minute arriving he says, a snake appeared and wrapped himself all around me with a face right at my face. And my shaykh whispering in my ear, if you focus on this snake he will kill you in this khalwa, you'll be dead. He said, for 40 days I prayed. The snake facing the face, and for 40 days praying, and every time I make sujood the snake would move. I'd go back up in my worshipness. Means what type of difficulty put upon the servant until the presence of Sayyidina Muhammad. That's what we just described. You're crushed and go down, who begins to appear? وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. Time Sultan Awliya my Shaykh Muhammad Nazim Haqqani said, I'm nothing. I'm nothing, but I had achieved 124,000 nothings. Means I went to the negative 124,000. I showed myself as nothing, talked as nothing, wore clothes of nothingness. All of those teachings were Shaykh Nazim's teaching. Don't show yourself, be nothing, blend in with everything. As much as you can achieve a state of nothingness, if Allah turn you on, He says, I have a power of 124,000 awliyaullah. But in my day and day life I'm nothing. So it means this reality and this haqqaiq of taking a path of nothing to achieve that reality of the dress. When Allah wants the servant on, the binary code comes, those nuqs move the other way in one shot and that person becomes 124,000. But not everyone's going to achieve that, but this is the understanding, be nothing until Allah flips the binary switch. So when they're on with support. And we've taught about the hadith of the arrogant youth that came and started to speak in a way to the Sahabi that they were so impressed by the qiraat, so impressed by the amal and the salah and the whole approach, that they went to Prophet and said, this filan who's reciting, do you know him? And Prophet said, I don't know him. One teaching that he knows everyone in his ummah. For those who don't understand the reality of Sayyidina Muhammad has ulumul awwaleen wa akhirin, and that every creation is from the soul and the light of Prophet said, I don't know that one. Immediately showing that he's not something normal now. And the hadith goes on to teach that when he was walking, Prophet approached him, said, "Let me ask you a question. Right now in your heart, do you think you are the best one?" And he said, "Yes, right now in my heart I am the best one, I'm thinking that." And immediately Prophet walked away, and that one went into the mosque. And then Prophet gave an order, "Go after it, that it's not even a human, go after it." And when Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq went into mosque to deal with it, he was so impressed by the salah and the recitation of the salah, he ran back out. The Prophet says, "Ah, Ya Sayyidi Rasul, he's praying like he's really impressive, his recitation." Then sent Sayyidina Umar al-Faruq, "Ja'a al-haq wa zahaq al-batil," and that one, that it was in sujood. And he looked at him in sujood and so impressed by his salah and his sujood, he ran back out, "Can't." Then he said, "I know who's going to fix this, Ya Ali, go." And Imam Ali, by the time he stepped in the mosque, shaitan ran, because he knew that Imam Ali is not going to hesitate, not even blink. Is that, and then Prophet told them that, "Had you resolved it, had you destroyed what I asked you to destroy, my nation would have never fought. Not two brothers would have ever come together to argue and fight. But because you allowed that shaitan, because shaitans don't die." But Prophet was giving a permission to destroy that shaitan. That Sayyidina Sulaiman who Allah gave an unimaginable mulk, unimaginable power, unimaginable authority. Holy Qur'an describes that he asked from his jinn, and not only jinn, but he said from the company of the Ifrit, that who can bring me the throne. A throne signifies a tremendous authority. There are people who have a throne in dunya, and there are people who have thrones in akhirah. They have throne, they have a kursi, they have a couch. Based on their darajat, Allah giving them a level of comfort. So Sayyidina Sulaiman's example is that, who can bring me that? One, why is such a powerful Nabi asking help from someone other than Allah? Because everywhere you go they say, "This is shirk, you ask only Allah. This is not correct, you ask only Allah." Sayyidina Sulaiman who has been given a tremendous power and closeness with Allah, why he is asking first of all from the jinn, "Ya ayyuhan majlis al-jinn, who's going to bring me that throne?" I mean, then with contemplation and tafakkur, a whole understanding is opening. One, that because at the end of what happened, he says that all of this was a test to show if I'm thankful. Means that what Allah gives of ni'mat, Allah has many ni'mats, many blessings, they don't all come to you, all to one person. What Allah wants from us to be humble. When we're humble, we say, "Subhanaka ya Rabbi," that glory be to you that everything around was such a blessing. Because at the end of this whole story, Sayyidina Sulaiman is saying that this was a test for me to see if I'm thankful from the bounty in which Allah has bestowed upon me. So means from the presence of Sayyidina Sulaiman, whom Allah gave a mulk, a bounty that He has not given to any Prophet since and before. From all of that, there's one with the knowledge of the book, from the Psalms of Dawood, not Holy Qur'an even. Imagine the power of Holy Qur'an. Because this Allah Qur'an is to teach us. Some people say, "Why you don't sit and just read Qur'an?" Oh, we teach Holy Qur'an, they teach Holy Qur'an. They teach it in a way that you should have been contemplating when you're reading it. Otherwise you're just reading it for years and years, reading it but never contemplating. Ahl tafakkur and Ahl zikr, when they read, they're told to stop and now think. One, he's asking from the Ifrit, "Bring me something." Means that we are always in need to ask. No matter what Allah gives to you, He's showing the best of character. Ask my creation, be humble. Even you have the power yourself. He didn't have the power to bring the throne himself. Well, what kind of Prophet didn't have power to do that? He had the power, but he wanted to show the akhlaq, and the best of akhlaq is to be humble. Which of the jinn can you bring me what I'm asking? So this is one power. And then Allah says, no, the one who had knowledge of the book brought it within a blink of an eye. Means a speed almost faster than the thought, the speed of thought. There's a speed in which the jinn were operating, there was a speed of light, and there's a faster speed of thought. He said, I'll bring it at the speed of thought, and it appeared. And the appearance, because he's a Prophet ﷺ, he cannot steal her throne. So this is now the technology we're using, because he replicated the throne and brought it into his holy presence. You know, they worship, when they say God and that they worship God, it's not our Allah. When they say God, it stands for gold, oil and drugs. Gold, oil, drugs, G-O-D. Gold, the source of all wealth. They took the gold and gave you worthless paper. Paper you have, you can blow your nose with it. It's not based on anything. Oil was the spice, was the fuel for every factory and for everything. And then drugs, those are the things they worship. Why? Because they send out the sickness to give you a remedy. They make people sick to give them, oh here's your remedy. And the biggest industries are the drug and pharmaceutical industries. So this is what they worship when they say dunya and mulk and in God we trust. No, it's in gold, oil and drugs they trust. It's not in Allah and it's not in the Prophet of Sayyidina Muhammad but it's in Profit. I hope my spelling is good. Shaitan is playing. So this dunya is in a difficult phase. Allah describes Sayyidina Maryam that we have chose her above all women in creation. Chose her for a very special gift that Allah wants to bestow upon her. We're not going to go into that whole event, but an important reality of that event that Sayyidina Maryam was given as a gift from her mother that, Ya Rabbi, whatever is within my belly of this child I'm asking to give it as a gift in your way, to be of service in your way. And a wonderful daughter was born, and she gave that gift to Sayyidina Zakaria, Prophet of Allah who was in charge of raising that child. Because of the conditions and the temple only being men, she was locked away where no one had access except Sayyidina Zakaria who was responsible for bringing her food and taking care of all her needs, whatever she was in need of. He was the one who was in charge of watching over her. And Allah describes that a Prophet of God Sayyidina Zakaria all his life praying for a child to inherit his reality, inherit his secrets, and asking Allah all the way to his old age that, Ya Rabbi, grant me a pious child that will inherit from this secret, from my tradition, from my reality, so that I may convey that and this lineage that you have bestowed upon us to continue. And that his main du'a. And then Allah describes something important in Sayyidina Zakariya's life that he comes in to the niche as she's a little bit older in life, and every time he comes in to the area where she's living there's a sustenance there. There's food that are not from the seasons and food that nobody brought yet, and he's witnessing time after time that there's sustenance miraculously appearing here. One, for him to realize that above every knower there's a knower, and to be tested in humility, because Allah loves humility and humbleness, and Allah is displeased with pride and arrogance. And teaching at that time with the value and the worth of women was at a very low reality at that time. And for a Nabi, for a Prophet of God asking and coming and seeing that this female has sustenance coming into her niche, and immediately his heart opened and made his prayer in that niche and his prayer was answered.
awliyaullah take these stories and they begin to teach us that a path of humility, and that you don't know where the secret is going to lie.
الله يعفو يا حضار والصلاة النبي المختار.